Republican Party. He's now an MSNBC political analyst, and Steve McMahon is a Democratic strategist. Now, let's hear it. The Obama-Christie cleanup team was back this week working the Jersey Shore just this afternoon. Let's watch.
It is my privilege to introduce the President of the United States of America.
Let me first of all say thank you to Governor Christie for that introduction and the great work he's done here. Thanks to the hard work of an awful lot of people. We've got wonderful shops and restaurants and arcades that are opening their doors. And I saw what thousands of Americans saw over Memorial Day weekend. You are stronger than the storm. After all you've dealt with, after all you've been through, the Jersey Shore is back, and it is open for business.
Stronger than the storm, Michael Steele. That's bragging words I haven't heard before. I wouldn't want to take on the ocean, by the way. But I have to tell you, Christie's getting a little thin, by the way. Have you noticed? He's working at it with that operation. Good for him. He'll get healthier.
And he's looking good, not just physically. He's looking good politically, I think.
Yeah, well, there he is with that white shirt again. I still advise against that, baby. But you know what? Let's talk about this politics. It obviously had influence on the election. People who were really better at calling this election than I was. I thought the president could still lose. But they thought that the turning point before the election of 2012 was the behavior of these two guys.
Yeah, a lot of people want to, put that on that particular issue on Chris Christie. Chris Christie did what a governor of a state in trouble should do, and he did it in a way that I think showed the rest of the politicians around the country of how not only you work with an administration you may be in opposition with on a number of other issues, but more importantly, how you galvanize people, how you bring them together. You know, the polarization that we saw in that election could have torn under any effort by the Christie administration or the Obama administration to actually get something done that's going to be resourceful and helpful. They overcame that. And I think that's a very powerful message that the governor's going to take into this fall campaign, which is why he's going to win strong. And he's going to take that message, I think, and have an opportunity to rebrand it with the party nationally, and to talk about how leadership does make a difference, even when you disagree with your opponent.
Yeah. Let's go back to the key issue of voters. When you go out to vote, most people are not ideologues. They vote for effectiveness. And they may like a person, a man or woman, right or left, because they like what they say, but then they want to see what they can do. My question is, who would you rather bet on this coming election? Chris Christie this fall or Michelle Bachmann next year? I think Bachmann has just wasted. If I were her Congress constituent, I'd say, well, I don't mind your speeches. They're harmless. But he doesn't seem like you do anything else but giving these speeches.
If you asked a poll
Whereas Christie doesn't known for giving speeches.
That's right.
He's known for doing something.
If you asked a poll question in New Jersey and a poll question in Michelle Bachmann's district, name one thing that Chris Christie or Michelle Bachmann did, their constituents, I would bet you, in Michelle Bachmann's case, couldn't name much of anything, and in Chris Christie's case, could probably name 2 or 3 things. They might not be things that everybody agrees with, but being effective, even if sometimes folks disagree with you, is far more important in a political race and for your political future than being, somebody who gets sound bites and.
Well, speaking of sound bites, this is a little bit funny here. I haven't seen it yet. I can't wait. On a Boardwalk Arcade, which I grew up at a Boardwalk Arcade in Ocean City, New Jersey. Here in Point Pleasant, New Jersey, President Obama and Governor Christie competed in a game called Touchdown Fever. You know these Boardwalk games. And it was pretty evident who played high school football and who played high school basketball. Let's watch.
Mr. Governor, you want to give it a shot, sir?
Trying to go low.
Trying to go. Period.
That's because he's running for office.
You know, this is really not politics, but I'm coming off the Memorial Day weekend, and it's a little lighter, but the president is really good at certain sports like b-ball. He's unbelievable. Right. I still remember the way outside downtown shot of his, the three-pointer. Can't bowl. Well, that's fair. If you never bowled, you can't bowl. It's not natural. But he still throws a football like a dartboard.
Like a basketball.
Like a dart. He doesn't. He's never quarterback. But the guy's, and now he's learning golf on president time. I mean, he's actually learning sports. Anyway, back to Christie.
Do you think it's a coincidence, though, that the game that they played wasn't the hoop game at the fair, but it was the throw the football?
Let me tell you, having lost a lot of money to those hoop games, you put it through the rim. The trouble is for the money guys who are sitting there back there collecting money, giving away $1 a year. Right. Those guys, there's a little extra indent, about 2 inches into the basket, it gets really tight in there. Right. The ball bounces right out every time. Anyway, former Senate Majority Leader Bob Dole, he's 90 years old now, who held the post of Senate Majority Leader back in '96 and then ran for president against Bill Clinton, giving him a pretty good run, dished out a bracing dose of truth today to Republican lawmakers. Let's listen to what the old guy has to say to the younger guys and women.
What do you think of your party, of the Republicans today?
I think they ought to put a sign on the National Committee doors that says closed for repairs until New Year's Day next year, and spend that time going over ideas and positive agendas.
You described the GOP of your generation as Eisenhower Republicans, moderate Republicans. Could people like Bob Dole, even Ronald Reagan, could you make it in today's Republican Party?
I doubt it. And Reagan couldn't have made it. Certainly Nixon couldn't have made it because he had ideas.
It's amazing. I remember him as when he was in great shape. He was a bit 90 this July.
True.
I used to work, when I worked for Tip, he was the last night Tip left office, and this is how times have changed. He and Bob Michael, the Republican leader from the House, they came over and just sat there, almost like sitting Shiva together. The Jewish people did that. But they were alive, and they were just sitting together, drinking coffee for 2 or 3 hours, just spending the time together in this kind of reverence for joint politics. When you fight with each other, but a sense that you're in this together. That's gone.
Those are the kind of people that you name buildings after. There's not much in Congress today that would result in a building naming ceremony.
I agree with
Well,
that.
True
right
American
people
hero,
don't build
Bob Dole.
buildings.
Well, that's right.
You keep forgetting infrastructure is a bad word. And I want to get back to you because you were from Maryland. I remember voting for you once for senator, sir.
Yes, sir.
And I got to tell you something. The Republican Party used to build things.
Yeah.
I built the interstate highway system, which we can't imagine living without. 395, 495, 695, 95,
connected the
70, 80, go across this country. How can you have done it? You'd be going from little speed trap to speed trap.
Well, we took smart ideas and we put them to work, and now what we do is we do a lot of talking, but we're not good at not just explaining, but then going out and doing. And so we get this impression that we want to stop, we want to block, we're not engaging. I think Bob Dole is absolutely right. I've said, even when I was chairman of the RNC, that a Ronald Reagan would have a very difficult time. The guy we know and love, that we honored because of his view on taxes, on some of the social issues, and certain policies, on compromise, would not make it in that Republican primary, which I think is the setup call for the kind of primary that a Chris Christie, a John Huntsman, and others within the party are going to have to push for in order for us to have an effective.
See, my problem with Obama, and it continues, and I don't understand it. You know, the reason he's been in trouble the last 4 or 5 weeks, and because these kerfuffles, they're bad, but they're not awful. He's been in trouble because it's very hard to play defense all the time. You got to play offense. You got to be for something. If he was out there pounding the door every day on Congress, walking around door to door in Congress, saying, I want a jobs bill. This 7.5% unemployment is not the new norm. The norm should be 5.5%. And we're going to get back down to that. And we're going to work together, public and private together. I don't understand why doesn't you keep Democrats who aren't for jobs are not Democrats.
That's right.
You got to be for something. Then you got to take these bad weather situations where things are screwed up to the IRS. I don't think anything to do with it, by the way. And then you live with them. But if the engine's dead in the boat, you're going to drift.
That's right. That's right. He actually started off pretty strong. He wanted an immigration bill. He wanted debt reduction. He had 20 senators up for dinner. It looked like they were off to a good start. They've gotten completely distracted by this garbage.
Well, tell me why he's not for a jobs bill. Why does he draw? A friend of mine told me you can borrow $30 trillion today at no interest. There's no interest out there. You can borrow at no interest, rebuild this country, and never have to pay anything back except the $30 trillion. Because there's no interest. It's a simple thing. We got all these unemployed engineers out there and all these people. Just make a list of everybody unemployed right now and think of a job for them to do.
He is for, you know, it's the ironic thing is he is for a jobs bill. He's put 2 or 3 of them up there.
What's the name of it?
But he stopped pushing for it because he can't get it past the Republicans.
It's not a big one. It's not when you can put your finger. You can't even draw me the picture of what he's going to build with that. No, that's your problem.
Well, he's going to.
Now he's in trouble with the stimulus bill.
It was $1 trillion infrastructure package. It's actually not unlike what you described, but it seems to have gone by the boards.
What committee is it in on the Hill?
And see,
what committee is it in? When are they going to report it out? No.
And I think this is where Chris is absolutely right here.
I don't understand
I think the president and the Republicans have missed this opportunity to lead. If the president isn't filling that vacuum with a jobs bill, then Republicans have an opportunity to talk about the kind of economy they want to create and put those bills in place. The same thing with the president. The president is looking for the Congress to act. This is a moment to get out there and lead. Here's my bill.
Yeah. By the way, Michael and I aren't the only ones, and he's a Republican. Let me tell you something. What did all the public relations advisors that went to see him the last 2 visits tell him? Get the truth out about the IRS as fast as you can, and have a jobs bill. And have a jobs bill.
Right.
They all said what I'm saying.
Well, you know, he's got 2 or 3 things that he wants to get done. Jobs is one of them. He needs to get immigration reform, and he wants to get a big budget deal. And he's got to keep working all 3 simultaneously. And he's got to work with Republicans just like he did today.
But he's going to keep all those jobs bill. The immigration bill will take care of itself.
Right, but I was going to say all that is going to fall by the wayside if the administration doesn't get in front of the scandals or the issues that are popping up now.
Let me say it my way. Jobs. Thank you, thank you, Steve McMahon. Well, some things I could be good at. You'd like to see. By the way, if you'd like information about contributing to the continuing relief effort on Hurricane Sandy, actually Tropical Storm Sandy, up in New Jersey, here's the website: Sandy NJ Relief Fund, SandyNJReliefFund.org. See that? Take a look at that. Sandy Relief Fund, NJ Relief Fund. Take a look at that one. And the number is 973-521-5820. 973-521-5820. It's important to do that. The trouble up in New Jersey and New York and Breezy Point and Staten Island, the Rockaways is still there. It's really horrendous up there.